Good afternoon and welcome to the latest edition of the Hudson County Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Jim Hagan. With me today is one of the greatest football players to ever grace the fields of Hudson County, going back to his days in Hoboken High School when he was, I don't know if they won, I don't know if they lost many games when he was playing, but I know the one game that he won in the Meadowlands when he had 239 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns as they beat Passaic Valley to win the state championship. And then he went on to play at Syracuse University and had a good career there. And now he serves the public in Hoboken in 2 capacities. One as a respected firefighter, and another as the head football coach now of the Redwings, and it's my friend Keeon Walker. Keeon, how are you today? And you doing good?
I'm doing fine. It's an honor for me to be on your show and say thank you for having me. Everything's fine. I'm doing well.
Good. Glad to hear. I just heard that you had a little bit of a battle, that you thought you had the coronavirus, but I guess that's all cleared up and you're doing okay, right?
Yeah, I actually tested positive for the coronavirus, but it was over. Today, I think, is 2 weeks. It'll be 2 weeks today, and I'm doing pretty well. I stayed active, made sure I took all my vitamins and supplements, and I'm doing pretty good.
Well, you live off of vitamins and supplements to keep your body in the condition that it is, especially in your age. I don't want to mention what your age is now, but you got to be getting there. You got to be getting there. So anyway. Let's go. I want to do first and foremost, okay? Over the years, we've known each other for a long, long time, and it was only until the game that you had against Passaic Valley in Giant Stadium when you ran nuts, and I went up to you and interviewed you, and I said, by the way, you said something to me. By the way, you spelled my name wrong. And it was the first time I wrote your name for 3 years as just Keon Walker, and didn't realize that I was spelling your name wrong, that there's 2 E's, right?
Yeah, I started to get used to it. I'm like, Keon, I'm like, maybe I should say something. So I waited 3 years until I had, like you said, a memorable game at Giant Stadium to correct you. So
yeah, and you did it, and I promised you then, and it hasn't happened since, that it would never happen again, and I make sure that I spell your name right, and it's even on my phone. It's spelled right correctly now. All right, let's go back to when you were a little boy, and what was the first sport that you played when you were a little kid? Was it baseball or was it football?
As far back as I can remember, it probably was football. I know that, obviously being a kid from inner city, I would say the 3 sports that we played was football, baseball, and basketball. So, I mean, it probably was one of those 3, but I'm thinking it was probably football.
Okay, well.
Definitely football.
All right, and when did you start to realize that you were pretty good at it? Did you play Pop Warner football right away in Hoboken?
Well, funny story, I think I probably started playing Papa Warner late, because when I started playing, a lot of those guys had already established themselves as players.
Yep.
So when I started playing, I actually was a center.
You're kidding!
I was the starting center, and I think we played North Bergen, and I think they probably dogged us that game, and I remember just quitting after that. I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I can't do it. I mean, I left the game, probably had a concussion, a headache. I'm like, I can't do this. I quit. And I remember the first game I came back, they put me at running back against Jersey City. And this was the small team, and I think that's when I had my first touchdown against Jersey City.
And once you had your first touchdown, that was it. You were in.
That
right?
was it. There was no looking back from that.
But
I started at the center, yep.
And who was the running back that you were blocking for as a center?
I think Deon Casey was a running back, and some other guys you probably don't know, because they ended up not playing
high school. No,
high school football.
Wow.
But I know for a fact Deon Casey was a running back.
Okay.
And a couple of other guys too.
All right.
That was it.
So imagine you played center and you blocked for Deon Casey, and then you ended up going nuts, and you had over 4,000 yards in your high school career. So, all right. So then you get to Hoboken High, and lo and behold, you look around and there are a lot of running backs there. And did you feel like, okay, I got to like fight for playing time? I mean, what was the thought process when you had people like Rayvon there, and well, Rashad wasn't there yet, but Rayvon was there, and Louis Terso was there, and you had all these people that you were playing with that were running backs just like you.
Well, yeah, I was a couple years younger than Rashad. Rashad was there; he was a quarterback, and I was a year younger than Rayvon. So the rich history of athletes of Hoboken High, that have come through Hoboken High. So I was just a guy that was just waiting in line. And then after all those guys graduated, Rashad graduated, I was a sophomore, and then going into my junior year, it was pretty much just me, Rayvon, and Dion. And the big fight there was who was going to play fullback.
Right.
Because at that time, up until that point, you had the fullback was always the big guy, the bruiser guy.
The big bruiser, right.
The big bruiser. So at that point, we were like, I don't want to play fullback. Nobody really wanted to play fullback at that time. So, had Rayvon having experience as a running back on the varsity level, and Dion playing a little bit his sophomore year, I was pretty much the odd man out. That's how I became the fullback.
Okay. But as you fully well know, and you played for Coach Stinson, and maybe you can recite it like the way I do. I've known it from over the years that when the Delaware Wing T is operating at its full capacity, there is an equal distribution of the football, right? How many times do you think you heard that in your career?
I've probably heard that 1,000 times.
1,000 times. I think I've heard it about 1,000 times too. So he would say back then that there was never going to be somebody who was going to be the elite back, but we all know that wasn't the case. That always the elite back was the halfback, right?
Yeah. Up until that point, it was the halfback, but obviously when I became the fullback, a lot of that changed because a lot of those fullback plays were quick hidden plays.
Right.
So obviously he figured out that if you can get somebody in there who's fast enough and quick enough, who can get into your secondary, and a lot of those times you get those one-on-ones once you get past those linebackers, that it pretty much changes your whole offense.
If there was going to be a one-on-one with you and somebody in the secondary, they were not bringing you down. No,
right,
no way, no way.
Absolutely not. And I think that's what made us special because a lot of the wings there's a bunch of misdirection and it's designed to get you
in space.
Your skill in space, and get those one-on-one matchups, and hopefully, 8 out of 10 times, your running back should win that battle. So I think having me, Dion, and Rayvon in the backfield at the same time, that pretty much changed the way the offense was designed to be ran.
But Rayvon was the All-American when you were a junior, right? He was the one. He made parade All-American, and you were had to play second fiddle. No?
Yes. Well, you got to imagine being Rayvon coming into his senior year, being like you said, the All-American, and having a bunch of people thinking, we could stop Rayvon Anderson. We should be able to win a game. And then I was just coming onto the scene as a junior. So I would stay for the first 2 or 3 games of the season, maybe more, that they didn't know what was going on because I think I carried most of the role for the first 3 or 4 games.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay.
Yes. And then after that, obviously we became a little bit more balanced, and that led us to victory in Giant Stadium.
Right. And that was like your coming out party, wasn't it? The game in Giant Stadium. Oh no, wait a minute. Your big game against Passaic Valley was your senior year, no?
No,
that was your junior year. Okay.
That was my junior year, but I would say.
And at senior year, you won again, though, right? You won both years?
No, my senior year is when we lost to Ramapo.
Oh, you lost to Ramapo at JFK. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, we lost to them in overtime. But I think after the first couple games of the season, I think I went over maybe 150 probably each of those games. So I wouldn't say that was my coming out party. I think people really started to take notice after that game.
Right. Against Passaic Valley, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Passaic Valley.
Because then you were coming back the next year, and then you were like preseason All-State, and everybody knew that you were good. You were going to be the man the next year.
Right.
So and deservedly so. Now, did you play basketball at all in high school? You played too, right?
Yeah, I played basketball pretty much all 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And who was the coach then? Was it Coach Matthews or was it Coach Wendelkin? Who was the coach?
Miss Wendelkin. Yes.
Mrs. Wendelkin. Okay. And what was it like then? Because she's going to be a guest on my podcast in the coming weeks. What was it like for you as a player to play for a female coach?
Obviously, Miss Wendelkin has a lot of history there. She was there a long time, and playing for her. Obviously, I don't think anybody had an issue playing for a female coach.
Okay.
I would think the only issue we ran into was her having a team during the summer, and us having, how we practice during the summer. So those were some of the issues we ran into trying to fit in basketball, but also preparing for the up and coming football season.
Okay.
So I would say the only issue we had was probably that.
Okay. But you guys all understood that she knew the game, right? No question.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Nobody thought that she knew less about the game because she was a woman.
Right.
We all respected her.
Okay. Now, talk to me a little bit about. I had Coach Stinson on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, and talk to me. What was it like to play for Coach Stinson growing up?
Well, I would say Coach Stinson was obviously a father figure for a lot of us. He was excuse my language. He was a hard ass.
Right. And, that's okay.
I think
hard ass is expected.
Right. A lot of that. A lot of us, we needed that.
Okay.
We needed that because we didn't have positive role models, male role models growing up in our lives. So him being a hard ass, at times we hated him. A lot of the times we hated him because of the expectations he had for us, and we hated how much he pushed us. But in the end, we all knew that it was for a reason. And we respected him because of that.
All right. Now, how much, Key, did you, looking back now, how much did playing for Coach Stinson get you ready to be a coach yourself?
Well, it helped us tremendously. It helped give us a blueprint of how a top program should be ran. What to expect from kids, how to push them, a way to design your program so that you get the max out of your players. We were pretty lucky to have someone like that as a role model. Someone like I said, to give us the blueprint of how to run a successful program. So I would say 70% or 75% of what I do comes from the things that he taught us.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. And now you don't have to play against him like I used to when Chipper Benway first became the head coach at Hudson Catholic, and when they played in Hoboken the first time, and Chipper was like saying, "Oh, Coach Stinson is a great person and somebody who I look up to," and I said, "Yeah, you'll be saying, he's a son of a bitch by halftime," and sure enough, it was like 55-0 at the half, and that was the end of that.
Yeah, so. My first couple of years back at Hoboken, I think we played when he was at what's that Catholic school he was at?
Queen of Peace.
I think we played against them, and when he was at St. Anthony's.
Oh, at St. Anthony's, you definitely played against him. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you had the upper hand there. Both times.
Both times.
Both times you had the upper hand. St. Anthony's wasn't beating Hoboken, and nor was Queen of Peace. So.
I think they beat us one year too.
Who did? St. Anthony's might have.
St. Anthony's, and we had a pretty good team that year too. So.
Yeah, he was wrong. That's when you're playing against Stinson, chances are you're going to lose one of those days. So, but
absolutely.
All right, but he set you on the right way to become a coach yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, anybody who's a coach anywhere that's under that Coach Stinson coaching tree, umbrella, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
Everybody's pretty much running or trying to duplicate the things that he did in Hoboken.
Right. It's a lot what Will Valdez does at Union City. And there are other coaches that are involved. He got almighty how many people are involved in coaching that he sent into the game of football.
Right.
And Tyrell is your cousin, correct?
No,
Tyrell is not your cousin. All right, so it's no relation.
Tyrell and Rayvon are cousins.
Oh, that's it. See, I get for me, everybody in Hoboken's related, so I don't,
Pretty much, right?
Right. Okay. But we were talking about Tyrell Dortch, who was also a great running back in his day in Hoboken. All right. How much when you first started playing was it a goal to say, you know what, boy, I'd love to be able to get a D1 scholarships one day? Was that the goal that was in the back of your head?
Yeah, I mean, if anybody who was serious about football, I would say that's probably everyone's goal. But at that time, I just thought you play football, you go to school, and if you go to college, right? I just thought, not having a long line of people that I've seen, do the things that I was trying to do it hurt me a little bit because, like I said, I didn't have anybody to actually look at until, Rashard, went to school, guys like that. But I just thought you play football and then you go to college. So it was always my dream, but just figuring out how to get there at that time, I didn't know how to.
Okay.
But I would say it was always a dream of mine.
All right. So then when the colleges started to come knocking on the door and said that they wanted to see you junior year, were you a little like saying, wow, is this really happening? Were you a little surprised? Or what was that like when the colleges came to come recruiting you?
I think one of the good things that Coach Stinson always did, he always introduced the younger players to the coaches when they came in to see the upperclassmen.
Oh, okay.
Like I remember being a sophomore and having Penn State and all these schools coming to see Rashard, who was a senior.
Right.
Even before I even became a star on the team, I was getting introduced to college coaches.
Okay. So as a sophomore, you got to meet Joe Paterno?
Yes.
Wow.
We were introduced to pretty much all the coaches that came in to see, like I said, the upperclassmen.
Okay.
So.
Well, Rashard had practically every school in the country after him.
Yes.
And Rayvon, the year before you, had a whole bunch of schools after him too. I mean, Mac Brown in North Carolina called me personally to ask me what I thought about Rayvon. So and he was at North Carolina. As a matter of fact, he's now back at North Carolina.
Oh, yes,
he's the head coach at North Carolina again. It's 70-something years old, and he's the head coach in North Carolina. So, but he asked when he was in North Carolina, he asked me about Rayvon, and then sure enough. Rayvon signed there. I mean, he transferred out of there. I think when Coach Brown left, and Coach Brown went to Texas, and Rayvon transferred out and ended up going to Rutgers. But those, that must have been a great tool for you, is to get all these coaches that were coming in before you, to get the chance to meet them for the first time. So
yes, absolutely. I think Coach Stinson did a good job of, like I said, seeing talent in kids and pretty much projecting how somebody's high school career could pan out.
Right.
So he did a good job of pretty much like I said, putting guys in line to be coaches. I don't know if it was because he had that much if he had that much what's the word I'm looking for. Or it was just
his reputation. His reputation helped him.
Yeah. It was a tool to make us play harder and practice harder.
Oh, I would imagine that was probably one of the reasons why he did it. Was like saying, "Hey, look, someday this could be you." That type of thing. That motivation that he was, he putting that in your head, saying, "Hey, guess what? Someday this could be you. They could be knocking on the door and calling you." So
absolutely. Yeah. So yeah. So he did a good job with that.
Yeah, without question. Okay, and then who was the first school that showed a little bit of an interest in you? And was it Syracuse?
I would say probably Michigan State when Nick Saban was there.
Oh, wow, okay.
Because I actually committed to Michigan State.
You committed to Michigan State? Wow.
I committed to Michigan State.
I did not know that.
Yeah, Wisconsin, I think they wanted me really, really bad.
Okay.
The coach would pretty much.
And was that Barry Alvarez was the coach then?
Yes.
Wow.
It was probably illegal then, but the coach pretty much every day was like, "We want you here, we want you here. I'm like, I'm coming to Michigan State already. Like, that's where I'm going. And he's the one that told me that Nick Saban was leaving to LSU.
Okay.
So he told me, he's like, don't go there because Nick Saban's leaving. So I ended up decommitting from Michigan State.
See, I never knew that story, Keith. There's always, see, I thought I knew everything, but now I didn't know that you committed to Michigan State. So,
yes.
All right. So then you decommitted and you opened up the recruiting process all over again. And how did Syracuse come into the picture?
Well, Syracuse, I only went on 3 visits. I went on pretty much 3 visits in probably like a week and a half, probably.
Wow. Okay.
And I was pretty much so exhausted from those 3 trips. You can imagine going to Wisconsin.
Right.
Coming back, going to Michigan State, coming back, and then flying to Syracuse, all in about a week and a half.
Okay.
So I knew Miami showed interest in me, but I knew they wanted me to play defensive back.
Okay, you were running back in your head right then,
yeah,
right?
In my head, I was running back. Minnesota wanted me also, but I only went on 3 visits, and after I left Syracuse, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to Syracuse.
Wow, just like that. Okay.
Yeah, it was close to home, and I knew that my parents and my family could come see me play, and it was my last visit, and I didn't want to go on any more visits. So.
All right, and who was the Syracuse coach at that time? Pasqualoni?
Pasqualoni.
Yeah. Okay, and then that's George DeLeon was the coordinator, right?
Yep.
Right.
DeLeon was there.
Right, and he would come to he came to Hoboken all the time.
All the time.
As a matter of fact, there was one time I was in Leo's Grandview, and who walks in but Stinson with George DeLeon, and I was like, "Whoa!" And they didn't. I think that was at the time. They saying, "Yeah, well, they're recruiting Keeon." I said, "Oh, that's good job." So then it was like, bang.
They love Fioris. They love the most from Fioris.
They love Fioris too as well.
Yeah. But when you think about that, me being a running back and seeing all the top jersey running backs that come out of Wisconsin, if I could do it all over, I probably, as a running back, should have moved to Wisconsin.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, because Syracuse bounced you around a little bit, and unfortunately that was not good. But Wisconsin, that would have been a great place for you, considering the fact Ron Dane won a Heisman.
Ron Dane won a Heisman. They love New Jersey backs. They love New Jersey running backs, and like I said, being a running back, I think probably was the place for me.
Yeah. No, and the head coach of Wisconsin now is a guy by the name of Paul Christ, and he was an assistant coach at Wisconsin at that time, and he's got Jersey roots. He's not from but he's got family in New Jersey, and he would come to New Jersey to recruit all the time. So who knows? You can't second guess yourself,
Yeah, and I'm just
saying that if it would have maybe it would have been better for you. So
right, like I said, as a running back.
Okay.
But I mean, all the things I learned at Syracuse, I wouldn't trade that for anything in the world.
Okay. Now you get to Syracuse. Pasqualoni's the coach, and was he your coach all 4 years?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. What moving you from running back to defensive back, and were you okay with that at first, or what? Or were you disappointed and said, okay, I guess I got to do what I got to do. I already signed my letter here, and I guess I'm going to stay here.
Well, I remember my sophomore year that I had a really, really good spring and a really, really good summer. Really good spring and summer. And I remember meeting with my running back coach, who was Coach David Walker.
Oh, okay. So you had something in common.
Right, he's in the NFL now, but I remember meeting with him before the season started. He was like, listen, you had a really good off season. You're going to play. Like, we have to play you. Right? So I'm like, cool, So I remember early in the season, our first game of the season, they put me in late in the game, whatever, and then second game of the season, they put me in like maybe the second series of the game.
And that was it?
For
one series. One play?
One play.
Oh, God.
It was a screenplay, but we checked out of it, and I ended up blocking or whatever. So I remember, I had some hope in the beginning of the season, and then after that, I started, playing less and less, seeing the field less. So I just asked them to move me to the defensive side of the ball. So I asked them to move me.
Oh, you asked to move to defensive back?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Coach Rippon was I think he was was the defensive coordinator, Coach Rippon.
Okay.
And I used to see Coach Rippon every day. I'm like, Coach Rippon, put me on defense, please. And he was like, Keeon, we would love to have you, but I can't make that call.
Oh,
so I
wow.
pretty much bothered him every day. And then one day, Coach P pulled me into a meeting. He was like, I hear you want to go on defense. I was like, yeah. I said, I came here to play football, and I don't want to sit on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, well, I know you was a good linebacker, and we'll give you a shot over there. So they moved me in the spring of my sophomore season.
Okay.
And after that,
did they make you gain a little weight before the season started? I mean, what were you?
No.
You were what, 215 at that time?
Oh no, I didn't. I left college at 198.
Wow. Okay. So you played linebacker? No, you played straight safety, didn't you?
I played safety.
Yeah. Okay.
Safety.
Okay.
So I played safety pretty much at like 180, 185.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
And that was pretty much it. So my sophomore season, I didn't start. I didn't start the first game of the season, but after that, I started the rest of my career.
Okay. All right. And you started at safety for the rest of your career.
Yes.
But didn't you?
3 years.
3 years. But didn't they give you a chance to carry the ball a little bit of your senior year? No. It was all safety.
Not my senior year. I was like the third or fourth string running back.
Okay. Because I remember I did a story about you back then when you were at Syracuse, and I thought that you were playing. They were giving you a chance, at least a look at running back then. No, huh?
No, I played, like I said, after my redshirt year. My freshman year, I played running back that year.
Okay.
And then my sophomore year is when I got moved to safety.
Okay.
Moved to safety.
All right. And then you played safety like there was no tomorrow. You were among the leading tacklers on the team. You made All Big East twice, correct?
Yeah.
All right. And then you had a pretty good career as a safety at Syracuse. Wouldn't you say?
I would say that I had a great career. I left there with I think 4 records at safety, and I think I did pretty well.
All right, and so you felt pretty rewarded. But the most important thing is that you were getting looked at by some of the NFL teams, and you went to a couple of tryouts. You went to a combine. You went to a senior All-Star game too, right? Didn't you go to one of the All-Star games?
No, I was projected. I was pretty much all year one of the safeties to go to the Shrine game.
The East-West Shrine game in San Francisco.
Shrine game. And then literally, I would say 2 days before I was supposed to leave to the game, I got a call that said some of the sponsors dropped out. So I was one of the players that they.
Is that true? Really?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's horrible.
Absolutely.
What a horrible thing that is to happen. All right. Yeah. So anyway, but you got a feeling that there was a possibility you were going to end up with some NFL team during your whole senior year. And did you go as far as to hire an agent?
Yeah, I hired an agent. I was one of the top 10 safeties in the country at that time. I hired an agent and everything. I had spoke to Indianapolis, the Colts, right before the draft, and we had a good conversation. They said that if they don't draft me late, that they'll pick me up as a free agent. And I think Atlanta Falcons showed some interest, and if I remember, probably Green Bay. Okay, and then what happened? Nobody drafted you. Nobody drafted me, and then.
But you got a couple of invites to go to camps, though, didn't you?
No invites to camp. No, I went to Buffalo, the Bills, for a tryout. Right. Other than that, that was it. It wasn't a tryout. It was like a combine. It was a combine.
What happened? Am I correct? Am I wrong? What was with the Detroit Lions? Didn't they come and see you or something? Or come and see you in a workout and they wanted to sign you, or is it?
I don't know. Not the Detroit Lions. I spoke to not Detroit. No, not that. I can't remember. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I can't remember.
Okay, I thought the Lions were interested because they were also interested in Rashawn. And I thought that they were like doing a Hoboken package type deal, that they were going to get sign you and Rashad. So
but I mean it was pretty weird to have a kid who 4-year starter, especially in Syracuse, be all Big East and be one of the top, I would say 15 safeties in the country, to not even get an invite to a camp or anything. That was pretty weird, but No, I took it hard for a while, but then after that, I pretty much got over it. So,
Right, and then at that point, did you think like okay, I guess your football career was over, or did you go
well,
try play the arena football like Rashard did?
I played arena football for a year. My agent suggested me that I go there to get more film.
Okay.
I'm like, dude, I'm a 3-year starter, and the Big East at this time was the Big East. I'm like, how much more film can I get? Like what else do they want to see? And I did everything.
Right.
So I went there for a year.
And who'd you play for?
Manchester Wolves.
Okay.
And
Gee, that must have been really fun, right? Huh?
it was fun. It was
Yeah?
fun. It was a long season. It was fun. After that, like once again, I spoke to Atlanta, the Falcons again,
Okay.
and I think maybe Green Bay after that, but then nothing.
Nothing. All right, so there was
And,
no Canadian League, none of that stuff. No.
I was actually, before I played arena football, I spoke to a coach for NFL Europe. We actually had a meeting in Hoboken. We met. We talked footballs, X's and O's, and he was surprised about how much football I knew. And he was like, "Listen, Keeon, you're the guy I want. I'm going to bring this back to the head coach, and I'm going to tell him I want you, but we're also looking at another guy from Kansas State." So he was like, "We're going to see." So a couple days later, he called me. "Sorry, we took the guy from Kansas State."
Wow.
I'm like, "You took the guy from Kansas State? We just spanked him in a bowl game." I'm not like this is the team we just beat in the bowl game.
What bowl game was that?
This was the Insight.com.
Okay, and you beat the hell out of them, and they took that kid over you.
Took that guy. I'm like, you took that guy? But it was like, it wasn't in the cards for me. I took it hard for a little while, but.
All right, so in that respect, did you feel like what in the world did I do wrong to not get a shot? And is that really frustrating in the fact that you did everything you were supposed to do as a football player, both on a high school and a college level, and now you're not getting a shot to play at the next level? And how disappointing was that, dude?
I mean, it was tough. Like I said, I was just. It would be different if I was a guy who didn't play and who didn't do the right things, and it would be different. But being a guy who, like I said, 3-year starter, making all Big East, being on the cover of a national magazine, all this stuff,
And nobody could ever doubt your intelligence. That's the one thing too. You knew the game practically better than anybody. So
Right. Yeah. So I think it started to hit me a little bit after I pretty much got snubbed for the All-Star game. So that started.
That pretty much showed how really tough of a business pro football is. Yeah.
Absolutely. And like I said, I'm like, to not even, usually everybody gets invited to a combine. I mean to camp.
Right. To training camp.
To camp. Yeah, it's like wow, literally, I'm like, what did I do that I can't even get invited to a camp?
Right. And you were healthy too, right? You had no injuries.
Yeah, healthy, no injuries, nothing.
Never had a surgery.
Nope, no surgeries.
Yeah. So still to me, I have no idea why that didn't happen. You were good. I thought you were good enough to go, and we all thought you were going. So, all right. So it must have been a little bit of a bitter pill to swallow, but at that point, you feel like you got to move on with your life. And what was the first choice of getting a job when you came home? When you realized you had to go to work?
When I first came home, I was still waiting, for that call to go play football. Okay. So I ended up doing construction.
Oh wow.
And God bless the people that do it. I mean, they're a special group of people, but I would sit there and be like, what am I doing here? I'm like, this is, I'm like, because we all have dreams and aspirations. I'm like, I'm supposed to be playing football somewhere, and I'm doing construction. I'm out here in the cold, it's freezing. I'm like.
And you went from a football helmet to a hard hat.
I'm like, wow. And I remember saying to myself, no, I can't do this. And I remember going to lunch and not going back.
Okay. Wow. Really? Okay.
I'm like, I was like, I can't do this. I can't. Then, I started working in Newark at a nonprofit organization.
Okay.
And then from there, my ranges.
What clicked in you to decide that, okay, I want to become a firefighter? And did you realize that there were so many other, and you remember I did that story about you a couple of years ago about all the great former Hoboken athletes that are now currently firefighters. And did that click in you to say, wow, there's all these guys that are firefighters, maybe I could do the same thing?
Well, I didn't really want to become a firefighter.
Okay.
I literally, somebody, Mike Kazaz and all those guys that you talk about who are firefighters,
right,
were encouraging me, just take the test, just take the test. So at this time, me and Tyrell worked together.
Oh, really? Where'd you work?
Yeah.
What were you doing?
We were working in Hoboken High School. We were mental health workers.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much doing counseling and stuff like that.
All right.
So he actually filled out the application first.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I'm like, shoot, if he's doing it, I'm going to do it. So I filled out the application. And long story short, he ended up not going to take the test, Tyrell, because he didn't want to be a firefighter.
So he didn't want to take he didn't go to take the test, and you did?
And I did.
Wow.
So long story short, I remember being at work, and the chief of the department calling, hey, can I speak to Keeon Walker? All right, we're going to fast track this firefighter process. You're one of the guys who we're going to hire. Do you want the job? And I remember saying to him, like, I really don't know if I'm going to be a firefighter.
Wow,
okay. He was like, all right, take some time. I'll give you the rest of the day to think about it. And I'm like, because I just had my daughter, and I was making, I don't know, maybe $50,000, and I'm like, whoa, this is a lot of money. I just had my daughter, and I know taking a firefighter job, I was gonna have to take a pay cut.
Major pay cut, probably.
So that was one of the bigger reasons why I'm like, I can't do it. And I had a lot of guys encouraging me to do it. They're like, just take it in a couple of years, you'll be fine. And I say, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. One of the best decisions I ever made.
Okay. And how how long have you been a firefighter for?
12 years.
Wow. Wow. Time flies.
I'll start my 13th this month.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. And what's that like to be a firefighter in the town where you grew up, and a lot of people see you in uniform and say, hey, I remember you, and that type of thing, or you were totally almost anonymous because you're you're wearing that uniform instead of the football uniform.
I'm an old man now.
No, you're not. Because if you're an old man, what the hell am I? Go ahead.
It's great, having that connection to the town and the people in the town, and just being a role model for the younger generation in another way.
Okay.
Everything is not sports. There are kids who are not athletically gifted. So you reach another group of kids when you're a firefighter or you're a police officer. So you give them other aspirations to do other things. So it's a good thing.
All right, and then now, when did coaching come into plan? And was it all based on Will Valdez? Was he the one that got you involved, or how did coaching become a part of your life?
Well, I started coaching when I left college. I started coaching back in Hoboken High School.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I coached.
With Stinson?
Years. The year that he won. You remember the year that Coach Sag won the state championship?
Yeah. Taglieri won the first year. 2005, I think, right? 2005.
I was coaching that team, and I coached the year after that.
Okay.
And then I ended up leaving.
Wow. So let's face fact. Okay, here goes. All right. As a player in Hoboken High School, you were lost one game. Then your first 2 years as a coach, you lost one game.
One game.
That ain't bad. I don't know what the record was. I'm going to say. Let's see, you won 38 in a row. Tags won his first 23. That's 51, 61 and 2. That's not a bad record to have as a football involved in Hoboken, right?
Yeah, definitely not bad at all. Yeah.
61 and 2. All right. So who was it that talked you into coming back as a coach? Was it Taglieri?
Well, I mean, obviously, having that relationship with Valdez when he was at first.
Right.
I would just go to help him maybe a day out of the week or 2 out of the week just to help out, because I still wanted to, be involved with the game.
Okay.
And he's like, you want to just come coach, we'll pay you, blah, 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 blah. So I ended up coaching there. And then obviously from there we went to Union City.
Yep.
I left Union City, and then ended up back coaching at Hoboken.
Okay. And then, talk a little bit about being an assistant coach. How much did you like that role? Or was it always in the back of your mind that you wanted to be a head coach?
I mean, I always wanted to be a head coach. My goal was to be a head coach.
Okay.
Obviously, being an assistant is great because you don't deal with any of the headaches that the head coach has to deal with.
And you learn that in a hurry.
Learn that in a hurry. So, you come in, do your job, and then, you're out the door, whereas the head coach has to deal with parents, students, the kids, pretty much
guidance counselors.
Guidance counselors.
Yeah.
So, but in the back of my
sports
mind,
reporters, yes. Yeah.
So I always wanted to, be a head coach and, run my own program.
Okay.
And it was just always a dream of mine. And obviously having the opportunity to do it at a place that I played, it makes it even sweeter.
Okay. Did you know that Coach Taggs was going to leave? And did you have an idea that once he left that you had a shot to get the head coaching job?
Well, Coach Taggs, when I came back to Hoboken, I was going to take the year off after I left Union City, and he encouraged me to come back. He was like, just come coach. You'll run the defense, and I'm only going to be here a couple more years, and I'll just hand it off to you when I leave.
He told you that. Okay.
Yes, but at that time, I was like, at that time I was over coaching under somebody.
Okay.
So it was still hard for me. I was like, Coach, I had to think about it. I really don't want to coach under anybody anymore. I want to, put my name in a hat, put my name out there for some of these other places.
For some other place. Okay.
Right, absolutely.
Were there any others in mind, Key, at that time that you were thinking about?
At that time, I wasn't thinking of anywhere. I was just, looking in the papers, looking online, and then anything that popped open that I had interest in, I was just going to, like I said, put my name in a hat.
Okay.
See if I get an interview or something like that. But obviously, me having a good relationship with Coach Taggs as a player, also as a coach, coaching with him before.
Right.
He knew, the talent that I had, and he knew the type of person I was. So he was comfortable saying, you know what, this is the guy that I feel comfortable handing my program over to.
Okay.
That's the hard thing with being a head coach and leaving who you want to hand your program over to. So I think he felt good about it. And that encouraged me, and he encouraged me to come back.
Right, and you felt in your heart you were ready to be a head coach, no question. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I felt like I was ready. I was mature enough to handle the job. I knew the type of program that I wanted to run, and I had in mind who was going to help me, who was going to be my assistant. So I pretty much had everything in order up to that point. So I was ready to do it.
Okay, and then 3 years ago you get that job, and what was saying? Okay, this is something that I wanted, I aspired, and I'm now the head coach of the program that I once played for, and that must have been an absolute thrill. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but you're the first African American head coach in the history of Hoboken High School, so that must be a distinction as well that you got to feel pretty proud of, right?
Yeah, I was definitely proud of it. Getting a job was great, but like I said, at that time, all the things that went into becoming a head coach, I was like, wow. It's like, wow, we really got to deal with all this. Like,
you mean Taggs didn't get you ready for that? No?
I'm like, I just want to coach the game. That's all I want to coach the game. So coach, and that's it. And all the other stuff. But the big thing that hit me was that learning to adjust how to be a head coach.
Okay.
Right? It's a different day and age. These kids are wired a little different than we are.
Absolutely. Yep.
So trying to coach the game the way Coach Stinson did when he coached us at this point in time doesn't work the way it worked back then.
Okay. No, not at all. And certainly the Delaware Wing T has to have variations to it, and you sure as hell have known that over the last couple of years that you couldn't run the same offense over and over again because it just the kids number one, I don't know whether or not they'd want to play it, and two, you had to fit it to your talent. So
Absolutely. And that part of it was like, all right, I can't be the militant person that Coach Stinson was.
No,
can't do it because the kids, they're not going to take to it, you know. So I had to adjust and become more of a mentor.
Right, but Key, that's not your personality though either, right? I mean,
no. But I just know the way that the Hoboken football program is designed to work.
Right.
You know, whereas it's going to be a lot different than the way it works at a prep at a Don Bosco. You know, it's a certain way to go about coaching in this small town. That's going to be different than how they coach other places. I know that, but how to go about implementing what you want has to be different.
Without question.
You know, so I learned that. You know, it was hard. It was hard at points, but you know, we got through it. And like you said, what type of offense and what type of team, what style of football you're going to run has to be changed a little bit also based off of your talent.
Okay, without question.
So,
all right, now tell me a little bit about the challenges that you face as being a head football coach of a high school and being a full-time firefighter, and how difficult is it to juggle that schedule and juggle your coaching schedule, not being in the building every day like most teachers who are coaches.
Right. Well, the issue is obviously, you know, the schedule. 2 days out of the week, I'm in the firehouse 24 hours.
Right.
So the main thing you have to have is assistant coaches that you trust and guys that you know can handle the team when you're not there for that day or two. Right? This is during the week.
Right.
For the first couple of years of running the program, I actually worked in the high school.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. Wow.
I worked in the high school, so I was there. I also had Tyrell there every day. I also had Coach Tag there every day.
Right.
So we had a huge presence in the high school.
Okay.
So we were there. We were in tune to what the kids were doing. The kids saw us, so that helped keep them in line also.
All right. How much did it help that at first Tags was leaving and going away and said, that's it, I'm done? And then Lobaldi then decided that he'd come back and be your assistant. How much did that help you, knowing fully well you could rely on him to be an assistant coach?
Well, it helps a lot. I mean, anybody who's been around the program as long as Coach Tag, who's had as much success as Coach Tag, who knows the game as much as Coach Tag, having him around can't do anything but help your program.
Right.
You know, so.
And he could be the hard guy that you can't be, right?
Right. So, like I said, the days I'm not there, having somebody like Coach Tag there,
right.
you know, actually, you know, it helps a lot. It really helps a lot. So it's definitely a plus for us. Right.
And then, I mean, I hate to say it, but you're so far removed. Oh boy, did I just really say that? But you're so far removed as being a player. Did the kids realize how good of a player you were, or do you have to pull things out of YouTube to show them how good of a player you were, both on a high school and a college level?
No, I mean, and honestly, the kids don't know unless we show them.
Okay.
They're so far removed from us, you know, our success, and you know.
And that's sad. That's really sad, isn't it?
Definitely sad.
Yeah.
It's not having the banners up, not having the streak up, not having all those things up, so that when you walk into the building, I don't have to remind you of the things we did. You can actually see it.
Right.
You know, so not having those things, the kids look at you like, "Oh, you're a good player. You're all right," but they don't really fully understand how good.
How good? Never mind, you were good, but they don't know how good you were.
Especially in the 90s, how good we were.
Yeah.
And you know, kids they only know the now. If they can't see it on YouTube, they can't see it on Instagram or on Twitter, then it don't exist to them.
Right. Well,
so we try to remind them every chance we get.
Yeah, well, you're on YouTube. We could pull up some of your great highlight clips on YouTube. But That's it. They're a little grain. They're a little grainy, but we could see. It's like those old movies that you used to watch as a kid. Oh look, yeah, but no, we could see that it's you. There's no question.
Yeah, I was gonna say the quality might be bad, but
No, we can tell that it's 28. That's you. There's no question. It's like, look, there's Keeon. So, all right. How remarkable do you? Now, first of all, I hate to ask you, but you're not 40 yet, are you?
I'll be 40 next month.
Oh boy, does that make me feel old. Oh boy. All right. Okay. But looking back, you're still a relatively young man. And how many children you have now? Two. Two girls?
Nope, boy and a
A
girl.
boy and a girl. How old?
7.
14 and 7?
Yes.
All right. Well, we know the girl is 14. The boy is 7. And does he come around and is he a football fan? Does he come around and watch practice and want to play just like Daddy?
Yeah, my son, he comes to the field, especially during game day. He rides around with Vinny.
Oh, does he really? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he puts out the down markers and stuff like that. And I mean, Friday nights are great for them. The whole family comes to the games. And they're dressed up in their Hoboken gear. They have their pom-poms. They cheer. It's a great time.
And what's your son's name? That's 7.
Caden.
Caden.
James Walker. Yeah.
Caden James Walker. Okay. Well, next time I come down there, I'm going to have to make sure that I introduce myself to Caden. So. All right. But all in all, Key, you got to feel pretty fortunate that you've had the life that you've had in terms of being a great football player, in terms of getting a career where you're touching the lives of a lot of people. And it might not have ended the way you wanted to in terms of football, but you got to feel right now you're still involved in football, and you're the head coach of your alma mater, and that's got to be. There's got to be a great feeling involved that what you've been able to accomplish in your life. Correct?
Yeah, I wouldn't. Like I said, I wouldn't. Before I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. I think I made out pretty well. Coming from the circumstances I came from, I think I'm doing well, and hopefully, a lot of these younger kids that we're coaching, we're touching, and we're reaching out to, and we're being mentors to, they can do even better than what we're doing. So ultimately, I think I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good.
Well, you're doing pretty good in terms of sending your players off to the next level, because 2 of your players from last year's team, Nyjon Freeman and Damon Murray, are both going to get chances to walk on at Rutgers, and and you got Kyron Roan, who's behind him, who's coming back this year, who's got a chance to play on the college level, I would imagine, unless his grades got to get it up. But in terms of,
you got little Anthony, Junior Anthony Henriquez.
Oh yeah, okay.
Jason Blaine. We got a lot of kids who. The one thing I would say about coaching these last couple of years is it's great to not have to worry about the kids' grades.
Okay.
You can come in, like, a lot of these kids are just really, really good students. A lot of the names you just mentioned, they're just good students.
Yep.
So not having to worry about that, you can just come in and just coach them and teach them football. It helps a lot.
Right.
And one thing I always said to them is that I would trade wins and I would trade championships for you guys being successful. And I'll give that all up in a heartbeat if it comes down to it. As long as you guys are productive individuals, you guys are good kids, and you grow up to be great young men, all those wins and all those championships, I'll trade them in a heartbeat.
Oh, that's great.
That's one of the first things I said to them when I became the coach. So seeing those kids get the opportunity to play on the next level, I mean, it means the world to not only me, but to the rest of the coaches and the community.
Right, without question. And they always, it's now, they've set a standard of excellence that, Hoboken kids are just expected to, A, win, and B, go on and play college football. That's, it's what everybody just expects them to do now. Yep. It's not even right? And Roan is going to get a chance, right? He'll play somewhere on Saturdays, correct? You think?
Yeah, I mean, we hope so. I mean, obviously, with the way things are going now, we don't know how the football season's going to turn out.
Right.
So, these guys, I don't even know how their senior year is going to go. Are we going to be able to get back on the field? Are we going to play this year?
I hope and pray to God that you're back out on the field, but I would think that you're going to be back out there by September. I would think.
But talent-wise, obviously, all these kids have enough talent to play on the next level, and those just the guys that are next in line. So, hopefully, God willing, they'll stay healthy, and we'll get to see them. We'll get to see them play.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, God willing, you stay healthy too as well, and that we get a chance to sit down and talk about your team like we always do. Come sometime in August. And the only thing I got to say badly is that now, finally, again, your 49ers are better than my Rams, and I don't know if I can handle that. So I mean, I might not be able to write good things about you, Key, if the 49ers keep doing as good as they do. So.
Yeah, it's good to be back. I'm finally a proud 49er fan again. I've always been a fan, but when you win it makes it a lot sweeter when you're winning. So
don't remind me.
Well, you guys just went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's right, but we lost. So then again, you lost too in the Super Bowl. So what do you want to say? Anyway. All right, Key, thanks so very much for spending some time with me today. This was a great trip down memory lane. And as you know, I'm a big fan, and now I know how to spell your name. It only took me almost 25 years to learn how to spell your name, but I think I got it now. I got it down pat now. All right, Key, great talking to you. Thanks so very much, and we will talk to you again soon.
All right, thank you.
All right, Key, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And that was Keeon Walker, currently the head football coach at Hoboken High School, who is had a great career both at the high school level and at the college level at Syracuse University. And now, incredibly, he juggles both being a head coach and being a firefighter in Hoboken. And it's an incredible career that he's had. Thank you very much for listening to the Hudson County Sports Podcast. I'm Jim Haig, and I'd like to especially thank my executive producer, Johnny Haig, for putting this all together for me. Without him, this wouldn't be number 20. That's right, number 20 in the podcast list. So anyway, thank you very much for listening. We'll see you soon.